Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Family Podcast. My name is Sammy.
My name is Don.
And welcome, everybody. Welcome. Now, it's a royalty thing.
I don't even think they understand something.
Yeah, it's a royalty thing. And
Yeah.
It's something off my bucket list.
Is it?
Yeah. So before we even introduce, listen to this, yeah? I knew you before you knew me, you know?
Wow.
So I don't know if you remember, but me and the missus went to some show at the O2, innit?
Okay.
And it was, who was on the lineup? T. John Moses.
Faith Evans.
Come, see, man,
Selena,
knows
Selena
already.
Johnson. Yeah.
And I was like, yo, this guy, I don't know who he is, yeah, but man is destined for great things, bro. Just the aura, the way that you just crack jokes and it seemed, you know, there's certain man who crack jokes in it and you can tell they worked on it in the mirror and
Man's getting into a podcast and hasn't even introduced the guest. That's how you know the levels today.
all right, gas mark 5 seconds.
Oh, come on.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce DJ Milktray. What's going on, my brother?
Yeah.
What's going on, family?
Jeez.
Pleasure to be here. You
You
know
know
what I
what's
mean?
mad, yeah? Even I remember I was working somewhere, yeah, and I was gassed in it. I think you was talking about DJ Milktray, innit? She's like, "Bro, that's my neighbor." Like, that's your neighbor. Do you remember? MMC.
Wow.
I can't remember.
When we went to MMC,
Yeah.
there's a girl that you used to chill with.
Crumbs.
All right, anyway.
Crumbs.
Let's not go there. I'll tell you offline. 'Cause I don't want to bait up her.
Yeah. We're trying to keep everything
Say
nice.
that. Because if Milks goes, I don't remember that.
No.
That's not my
Ooh,
name.
live on the airway.
Nah. We don't want it to get too sticky.
So, bro, like you're a family man, innit?
Yeah, man. You know that.
And that's one of the things I love, innit? But what was your family dynamic like growing up?
My family dynamic was really traditional, like from the Caribbean aspect, and special. So my mum and my dad met because they lived on opposite roads.
Okay.
So basically, my mum's family lived on one road, and then my dad's family lived on the other road. So my mum was actually going to school with who is now my auntie, and that's how they kind of all met.
Oh,
So
mad.
when I was born, I was living at home with my mum, my dad, my granddad, my auntie Paulette, and then on the next road was my other set of grandparents on my dad's side.
Oh, my days.
And then on my road, some of my dad's brothers and sisters had bought property. So I was really, really raised, you know, that whole kind of thing, like it takes a village. I was the definition of that. So, and at that point, there was a generation older than me. So like some of my older cousins, and then like it was just me and my cousin Tanya. So I was raised by all my big cousins, my neighbors, like my grandparents, like everybody. And then even like on my mum's side of the family, who are kind of from Birmingham, they were always down summer holidays, Easter. So it really, like, both sides of my family I'm really tight with.
Okay.
So that was my family dynamic. So for me, that's always been just the key thing. Like, more than the only thing I say I put, you know, in front of family is God. But nothing really comes before family. And I'm blessed. I'm really blessed to be in that position where both sides of my family have an equal impact. Because, you know, sometimes some people, like, you know, it might be one side, it might be your parents' side or whatever. But like for me, both sides of my family, from mum and dad, have had a massive impact, and I'm really tight with everybody.
I love that.
Yeah, that's
You
nice.
know what's mad, yeah? Because I was speaking to my university friends, and my university friends were just like, "Oh, how usually it's the female side, isn't it?" And I was like, "Nah, dead that, because my family are lit, bro. Like my family are mad lit." And I was like, "What? So what? My children ain't gonna see my side, isn't it? Just gonna nah. I can't."
Yeah,
have
but
that.
think about it for us though.
Yeah, I know
being
it happened
honest.
for us. Yeah, I know it happened for us. That's why when they said it, I reflected on it, and I was like, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
that's mad."
Because for us, we were really, really close knit with my mum's side of the family, but my dad's side not so much in it. Like we're cool with our cousins and that.
Yeah.
And we chill, but they lived in East London. We lived
Right.
South London. So more time. If there was a link up, it was my mum's side because they lived in South London as well.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
it was just kind of getting used to that. But I love that for you. Both sides had equal time with you in that. So
Yeah, man. And for me, it gave me a real balance because on one side, like I had my dad's brothers and some of my older cousins, you know, man them. Yeah. And then like on my mum's side, it was more my older uncles, like reverence, all of that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So there was always that level of respect. But I was I think I was so well grounded in it all. And to be honest, that laid the foundations of the man that I am today. 100%.
Yeah, you could see it though, innit? Like I
Hey.
say, like you could see it.
Them
And-
lot's parties must have been so lit.
Hey,
bro.
listen. I mean, I remember, you know, the kind of you and your cousins go upstairs, you fall asleep on the room with all the jackets,
Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you fall asleep on the leather sofa in your uncle's room, and your face is stuck to the sofa and all of that. You gotta pull yourself away from. Like that's how we grew up, like traditional Caribbean households, and you know everybody's door was open. And thing is, what I loved about where I grew up, it wasn't just my blood family. So like even my next door neighbors, the Browns, the Dailies, like they were all family. Like everybody would just walk into everybody's house. When I was going to like infant school, primary school, my next door neighbors would pick me up from school and bring me home and all of that. So
proper
like
community.
my big sister Yvette and Sandra and Roger and Owen and Judith, like all these people that were just always around me. And then they would be in my house with my auntie playing records and all of that jazz. So it was just one massive community. I'm like, trust me, when I think about it and think about how blessed I am, like, I wouldn't change it at all.
Yeah, no, that's sick.
Yeah,
It
sounds mad.
It's like, hey, why can't I have some of that? But-
Hey.
No, that's good. What would you say is your fondest memory of that time?
I'd probably say, so what happened was my mum and dad got married, both moved into our current family home, which is still the family home in Tooting. And then my auntie Paulette lived with us and my gran. I'm one of those grandma's children.
Okay.
So I was raised by my entire family, but the bond that I had with my gran was something that I couldn't even really put into words. So I was like I was her son. At the same time, I was my auntie Paulette's son as well. I was like the first baby my auntie Paulette had ever held. So I had a really special bond with both of them. And then when I was younger, my gran, she suffered with a stroke, so she was paralyzed in one side. So I was literally from a baby sleeping with my gran and like next to her all day, every day. When she had her stroke, when I was younger, I was like her little carer. So I would wake up in the mornings, bath her, get her ready, do her little breakfast, and then she'd go off into her little green Wandsworth community van, and she'd go to a little daycare center and all of that, and then come home, and then me and my auntie would sort out dinner and all of that jazz. And then my auntie Paulette she was my angel. Like I lost her a few years ago, but she was the defining kind of person in my life. She taught me like literally everything, whether it was business, savings, how to deal with women, like all of that kind of jazz. She was that person. So for me, the fondest moments are really probably spending that time with my gran and my aunt in the house. Because what happened was mum and dad then moved out and bought a house in Thornton Heath.
Okay.
Like this is back in like 84, 85.
Okay.
So this is before
Yeah.
black people was even really in Thornton Heath.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the time, I'd just started primary school. So my parents didn't want to take me out of school. So I basically, in the weekdays, I lived with my gran and my aunt. And then on the weekends, my dad would come back down from Heath down to Balham, pack up me and my gran's stuff, and then put it in the car. And then we'd go and stay at the house in Thornton Heath on the weekends. So technically I had 2 houses.
Yeah.
So
Balling.
like, fam, listen. So I had 2 houses. At the house in Fort Neath, I had my bedroom, I had my toy room full of Transformers and masks and all them ting there. And then I'd go back down to the house in Balham and then continue schooling and then living with my aunt and my gran. And those are really the key moments for me.
Yeah.
So can I ask, how did you feel being a young carer? Because I suppose in a lot of kind of, I don't know, like African and Caribbean cultures, it's kind of seen just as like a duty, and you take that on and you don't mind it. But as working in social care for me, I see it now where a lot of people find it a tiny bit of a burden. It's like, take my mum in it, car. It's a bit mad.
No, I don't. I mean, the love that I had for my gran, I couldn't even really describe it. So to me, it wasn't even a chore. Like, it was more my responsibility. It was my honor. It was my privilege to do that.
I love
because
that.
she installed so much into me. Like, even to the point where the bond that me and my gran have is, I'll tell you a story. So one of my best friend used to live opposite our house. The Fianco family. Big up Reg. Big up Melissa, Beverly, Ophelia. Big up mom and dad, who passed away a little while ago. Love them. And we used to spend time in each other's houses. And this was probably the first time that I was really introduced to the African culture, because they're from like Africa. So I like the cultures. It was about my first time being really exposed.
Okay,
do you know what I mean? So like, I remember going into the house and saying, "Oh, it's plantain." No, it's plantain. Like, you know, that kind of thing.
The debate.
Yeah, the debate. But that family took us in, and they could come into our house, vice versa.
Yeah.
And I remember being at their house, and my gran, sometimes we'd be at Reggie's house playing on the Atari ST.
Wow.
Okay. Man's playing Bomb Jack.
20-minute loading time.
Come on, bro. Right? You go outside, kick ball, come back in, it's still not even loaded. You know, like that. So what would happen in the half term, I remember my mum and dad had the first BT cordless phone.
Okay.
So what I would do is when I'm over there at their house, I would take it with me. And there was a few times it wouldn't ring. And then so many times I'd be playing in the middle of the game, I'd jump up and run across the road, be like, "Yo, I gotta go, my gran's calling." And I'd be like, "Fam, but your gran's across the road. Like, fam, don't ask me, I need to go." Bang, I've run over, my gran's called me. So one time my brethren, Anthony, we got my brother BA, he's like, "Nah, fam, I need to see this. Next time your gran calls you, I'm running over to the house with you because I don't believe you." And then next time, so says, so done. My gran, I could hear my gran, like I could hear it in my, I was like, "You know what, man, I gotta go." So he's run over across the road with me. We've got to the house, and then my gran was literally sitting there saying, "Come, turn over the telly."
Mad.
Like, literally. And from that moment, he looked at me and said, "All right, cool. I get it." So that was the kind of bond that me and my gran had, and it trust me, like, it molded me. Yeah. That's the in sync.
That's
fire.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see, like, we don't even, it's not always we get to touch on stories like this, but you know, like, I'm so happy that we get to touch on a story like this, because I think it's so important for a generation that now think about money and acquiring stuff, innit? We kind of, and I know a lot of them want to do it for their parents and for the people that they love, but we miss the things that don't include money, innit? And I was speaking to a guy recently, and he was telling me about troubles with his wife, where they're together, but the lover's kind of gone. And when I was looking at the story and I was trying to think, I was like, bro, like, all right, tell me, imagine we're both drinking, we're both licked, innit? And he's telling me about this thing, innit? And I'm like, "Nah, brother, tell me again. So he's telling me, and I'm like, do you know what? It just clicked in my head. Even while I was drunk, it clicked. And I was like, everything you're talking about, you're telling me that you don't care about money, because he's quite successful. He's quite a successful guy. And you're telling me about trips to France, and you took her here. And I was like, bro, do you know what it is? I was like, can you tell me a little bit about when you first met her? He's like, yeah, it was a nightmare, bro. I was on like 12 cans of White Stripe.
Wow.
Yeah. He was like, I was a mess, bro. And it clicked in my head. I was like, bro, she's not with you for the money. So you're doing all these things, yeah, but these things that you're doing are still all connected to money.
Mm-hmm.
But where is the heart in what you're doing, innit?
Yeah.
So when we go back to stories like this, and you just see like a young child, just bare heart, bro, different.
And surrounded by the people that you love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
Feel what I'm
that's my
saying?
whole story.
Mm.
It's always been my story. I've been so surrounded by love. It's unreal.
Yeah,
But I think you give that. I think when
can
a
tell.
lot of people speak about you and that, and the reason why people are interested in what you do is because they feel the love, bro.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel, I know it sounds bare corny, all the man. That
No,
wanna call
no,
out,
no.
What's these old
Mhm.
man talking about? But
No, it's real. It's real. It's
No,
real.
it's real, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Even it was probably like a couple months back now. And I went on Milktray's page, innit? And he was doing a mixing session with the young kids, innit? And then they made some beat. And he's like, no, man has to put this online. Man has to put this online. It's like, we up the thing, innit? And everyone in the place is going ham. Like, when you see the smile on the youth's face, you know they're trying to play it cool because they're young brothers. innit?
Yeah.
But in their head, they're gassed. And like, I was thinking to myself, you see this thing, yeah, that Melks is doing right now, yeah? It's setting a platform for them that they don't even realize, innit? Because it's the things that I didn't even realize that impacted me now, innit?
Yeah, the most.
And like when people put into you as a young kid and they believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Bro, like when I saw it, I was like, yeah.
So you did quite a nice segue into my next question, innit?
Let's go.
So what was school like for you as a young kid?
School, what, like primary or secondary?
Secondary. Let's talk.
Secondary was interesting. So, within my family dynamic, I have this so-called title as the golden child.
Okay.
So
One of them ones.
yeah. So I'm like, you know, everybody kind of says I'm the favorite, but I'm not, or that I'm spoiled. I'm not spoiled. I'm just, you know, I'm blessed.
Spoiled.
No,
Blessed and highly
I'm
favored.
blessed and highly favored.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah, I'm blessed and highly favored. So, the secondary school that I went to Elliott Secondary School, which was in Putney. And at the time, my uncle was one of the deputy heads there. So, in that realm, you know what I mean. And then I had two of my older cousins, Kelly and Leah, who were going to that school. So, I kind of came in cool, innit? Like, oh, like you're Mr. Patterson's nephew. Plus, you got two big cousins. One's a girl, one's a female. So, like, I was cool, innit? So the first couple of years at school was cool. Never really mischievous or whatever. Kind of had my head down. I was a good child.
Yeah.
I wasn't troublesome or anything like that. But then my uncle left the school, and then the same year my two cousins left the school.
Okay.
So school started to get a little bit sticky in the fact that I think some of the things that I felt which are now the things that have really, you know, pushed me forward and brought me success, you know, the people would tease me about and kind of make me feel awkward. So for, I think, like year 4 at school, I was pretty much like isolated. So I had to spend a lot of time by myself. I was the quote unquote not so cool kid to be around.
Yeah.
So I wasn't being like really bullied, but at the same time, there were things that I was going through that really made me feel uneasy at school. And I kind of got to a point where I didn't even want to go to school. Because I was being isolated by people around me. And I just remember my auntie Paulette saying, those same people that are doing that, they're gonna see the greatness that you have in you. You don't even get it. Do you know what I mean? So that was really challenging. Do you know what I mean? And to be able to kind of come through that and be where I am today I just feel like it's so important now to kind of talk about it. So even being on this platform and letting people know that, you know, I was bullied like indirectly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, you this and this, but I was definitely bullied. And it made me feel really awkward. And I remember saying to like my aunts and that, I don't want to go to school, Auntie P. She's like, no, you gotta go, man. You gotta go. And then I think it really knocked my confidence. So that, along with always being like the slightly bigger guy, kind of growing up. So by the time I got to like secondary school, you know, first couple of years you're cool, innit? But then, you know, the whole kind of you starting to, you know, meet girls and start talking and that, And then with all of that being happening at the same time, my confidence was shot. Absolutely shot. I wouldn't trust me. I wouldn't even talk to I would talk to girls, but in the sense of I was always Mr. Friend Zone.
Oh, okay,
I was every girl's best friend, but just didn't have the confidence. So when I got to secondary school now, and then kind of fell into DJing, it really DJing really changed my life because I was able to create a persona, Milktray, separate from Martin. And Milktray had a little bit more confidence, a little bit more swag, and a little bit more distant. Martin was always whoa. And again, going back to my weight, I was always really conscious of my weight growing up. So that always knocked me for 6. But then, kind of coming into the DJ world, I was able, like I said, to create the character and the persona of Milktray and kind of live through that. So yeah, I mean, I have fond memories of school, but yeah, secondary was challenging.
Did you ever get the chance to merge the two, Milktray and Martin?
Yeah, I think it's taken a long time. It's taken a long time. I think now there's much more of a balance.
Okay.
I'd probably say in my early 20s, that was when I was really discovering who Milktray was and who Martin was and how they could coexist. And there were times in my life where I should have been Martin, but I was Milktray.
Okay.
And then there were times when I was Milktray, but when I should have been Martin.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's been a long and ongoing process. And I feel like now I'm probably in the most balanced space between the two of them, because as much as I'm Milktray, I'm still Martin, the son, Martin, the dad, the husband, the brethren, you know what I mean? So there's balance now. And I feel like when I'm ready at any given point to just switch off and not be Milktray, I can do that now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, you know I mean,
yeah.
I can do that now. I mean, I'm in a position now where, do you know what? I don't want to answer the phone. I don't want to cool. That's that. I don't want to have to do. Today I'm not going to do them emails because I just need to be Martin.
Yeah.
And that's where I think I found the balance.
Okay. And going back to the school thing, do you think that it's made you more sensitive around your children in terms of what they experience or what they go through at school?
Yeah. So as a story, so I've got the twins. Everybody knows. If you don't know, I've got twin boys. I call them the mini milks. They're my entire universe. If you see me on socials or anything, you will know that literally nothing comes before these boys. And everything I do, every maneuver, everything I do is all for them. So they've just started secondary school. So I'm trying to get them to a point where, let me tell you something. Let me look into this camera. See, some of these when they're young, they're a little bit nasty. Yeah?
Yeah.
The level of hygiene and all of this and the level of getting ready. I'm like, listen. So we was trying to get them prepared for secondary school. And I'm saying to them, look, if you don't start going to school and you smell good and you smell fresh and you look present, people are going to cuss you and run you and make you feel awkward. I don't want you to go through what I kind of went through at school. So I've had that discussion with one of the boys and said, look, Daddy didn't have the easiest of times at a period in my life at school. And I don't want you to go through that. Do you know what I mean? So even as a parent and as a father, opening up myself in that capacity to my son to show him that I was, show the vulnerability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm hoping and praying that that's planted some good seeds because, the generation that raised us, listen, Daddy Milktray, and I talk about my dad a lot as well. I talk about my whole family, but Daddy Milktray is the definition of alpha male. If you go to Google and type in alpha male, picture Daddy Milktray. Yeah. So them man there, it's it wasn't tough love, but it was just that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't ramp with me.
Mm.
Do as you're told, and that's that.
Yeah.
And I feel like one thing I kind of always grew up wanting was that recognition from my dad. You know, that I'm proud of you, son. Yeah. I was yearning for it. And I've kind of always made sure that I don't say it willy-nilly to my sons. They have to earn it, but I let them know that. Do you know what I mean? And I'm a very loving person, and I'm sure from, like you said earlier, I just give love. So I make sure that my sons are really balanced with regards to how I raise them. So there's a level of discipline, but there's a level of love and affection and you know, playtime, and we ramp and all of that, but it's all balanced. Like I don't think it can be, especially in this day and age, it can't be just one way or the other. There's got to be balance.
Definitely.
Like I was talking to my mum about this, and I was saying that there's something special about growing up with your dad, because you get the full range of what men are actually supposed to be like. So you see your dad and he's dancing to Bob Marley and he's pulling out the little goofy moves and all the rest. Do you feel what I'm saying? And you see him like throwing cushions at your mum, just ramping. Do you feel what I'm saying? But then you see him like telling you off. Like, why didn't you do your homework? This, that. If you're going to be a man, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like sometimes if you don't have that, you just go for a stereotype of what you actually think a man is. And that's the most violent, the most disrespectful to women, the most, just because you don't have the full frame of reference. Innit? That's why I think it's important, like what you're saying, and putting it out there, that you give your children a spectrum to work from. So then they
definitely
understand, like, because you know, I feel like nowadays when I go on social media, I feel like there's certain men who play a caricature of men, who are like, you're not a man if you do this. You're not a man if you do that. This set way to be. And I'm just like, bro, can you shut your mouth, please? Innit?
You know what?
Because if you don't know how to, like, for example, if you don't know how to show you're a loving person, or you don't know how to show your vulnerability, that you deprive your children of something.
No, definitely.
You know? And so I think it's best to just.
The only thing my dad was on crud for, he's like, you will not tarnish my name. He said, you see this name?
The legacy.
Yeah.
He said, you see what I built into this name? He'll tell you straight. He'll be like, I flew to London when I was 18. I looked my mum in her eye. I said, there's nothing here for me. I want to build a better life. I took my passport and I flew. He said, this name? My dad don't play with these names.
Yeah, man. History museum.
Trust me,
bro. Yeah, it's.
And I feel like, you know, that's a big thing, innit? That's a thing for us, man. Because remember when I was talking to you, innit, Sammy, about imagine you built up this legacy, innit? Everything you wanted in your head, and then your child just come and squander it.
Yeah, it's tough.
And you're just like, wait, what?
Wow. That hits.
Yeah,
that hits.
Trust me. Like when I first heard that, I can't remember. I think it was a female who actually said it to me.
Wow.
She was like, yeah, but you're working so hard. Like, you talk about legacy, but what if you don't teach your son or your daughter the proper morals and then they just mash it up? I was like, huh?
Wow.
You know, you don't even think about them things. You're like, what?
Because one of those things is like, was it you? As a dad, you know what I'm saying?
It's mad, isn't it?
Oh, yes, bro.
Yeah.
That conversation's a rough one.
That's peak, you know.
But yeah, no, it's important. And that's exactly the conversation we're having right now, is why it's so important, isn't it? Like, father figures are so important. It's so important to, as you said, show that, and you said, Sammy, to show that vulnerability, to show people different side. Listen, don't let
not too vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because the mini milks know. They know, like even like basic in the morning. Like the wife might say, "Boys, get ready. Boys, get ready." Dad says, "Boys, get ready."
Bass in the voice.
You start hearing movement in the room. You know what I mean? So
you know what? Yeah, that started to happen with my daughter, where my wife will be saying something, saying it 3 times, innit? And I'm like, Faith, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. And she's starting to respond, cause when she was 1, she didn't really care about nothing.
Yeah.
But now I think she's starting to see there's a difference in between
Yes.
mum, and I think she spends a lot of time with and you know where they say familiarity breeds discontent sometimes, isn't it? I think sometimes that's what it is with kids, because mums, they're always following their mum, and their mum's always telling them this, that, and the other. Us lot are working and doing all the rest, innit? And sometimes we're preoccupied, and so when we actually say, like, listen, this is not a ramping thing.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I don't know him so well.
Yeah. But I mean, in my house, the dynamic is a bit different. So
okay.
the twins, literally from the age of 4, have spent their whole life with their dad.
Oh, is it?
Nice.
So I was at a point where I was working full time, doing God knows how many hours work. I used to work at Carphone, so I was doing like full time management, playing out on the side, all of that, and it still didn't make enough sense for me to do that at that level and just not spend any quality time.
Yeah.
So we had a conversation as you know, as a couple, and said, look, the wife was like, look, it makes more sense. I go back to work full time. If I go back to full time, she's going to make X amount, which is still like probably 10, 15 grand more than what I was going to do or what I'd be doing working full time at Carphone as a manager.
Yeah.
So I went part time, and it all kind of coexisted in the fact that I wanted to start really focusing on radio.
Okay.
So at the same time, I wanted to start doing breakfast on top. It was that whole period. So, you know, we made the collective decision, and I prayed about it and that. Spoke to my Auntie P and my dad and my pastors and that, and said, look, I'm going to leave this full-time job because I want to spend time with the boys, and 2, kind of focus on my radio career. So I went part-time. So I was able to then start doing the pickups from school every day. So I would pick up the boys from school every day. They'd come home, cook dinner, do homework, all of that. And then that's now continued. So they are literally with their dad more time, because now I'm blessed because I'm self-employed. So like now I've got the freedom to be able to do that. So they spend most of their time in the daytime with their dad, because the wife is at work, and then she runs church choir and all of that business. So they spend a lot of time with me. So even when they were younger, like at the age of 7, 8, I was having conversations with them, like about mortgage and rent and all of that kind of stuff, but breaking it down and making it tangible to them. So
yeah,
all right, so you got your Nintendo DS, yeah, and then you got 2 games with it, but then after a while you rent it to your friend and he gives you £2, yeah, and then what you do, you lend it to him for X amount, and you save that money, and then after a while you buy another one, and then you start renting that out.
Yeah.
So they didn't get it. So they were like, so like now, when we started doing Milktray's Motivation, which was my seminars and that.
Yeah. You did them in Croydon, didn't you?
Yeah. Started it in Croydon back in like 2015, 16. And then we moved it to the Doubletree Hilton Hotel in Victoria. And then when we moved it there, the first time the twins came to me and said, Dad, can we have a stall? I said, yeah, all right, cool. Like, what are you going to sell? They were like, we're going to sell lemonade. I said, all right, cool. So, all right, so like they went to Tesco and stuff, went and bought the stuff with the wife, made their little signs, worked out how much they'd spent in Tesco compared to how much they needed to make back their money to break even. They had their little cups, different prices. They did their first one and came out with a profit of like £130.
Look at that.
Mad.
And that was at like the age of 8.
Yeah.
So then they did another one, and then we spoke to them. We're like, cool, we're going to upscale. So the next one was around about Easter. So they went, bought two bun, 2 little piece of cheese, wrapped that up, sold the bun and cheese with their lemonade.
Come on.
180 something pounds.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I've always tried to expose them to the things that I'm doing and talk to them about money.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do with the twins. I talk to them about money. They know how much daddy charges for a wedding because they hear it, because they're in the car.
Yeah.
If I'm in the phone and somebody's phoning me and saying like, how much you charge for this, like boom, boom, boom. So they know, like, even when I'm streaming on Twitch, they know. They'll come and say, Dad, how much money did you make that day? Do you know what I mean? Like, I let them know because I want them to kind of be, financially sound before they even start getting to things like credit and all of that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure that they're sorted in that area.
Because it's the knowledge, innit?
Yeah.
A lot of the time, it's a deficiency in knowledge
Yeah.
that holds people back. So if you got it, definitely pour it into your children.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We as a family, we really, you know, make sure, like, the wife is a grinder. She's a hustler. I mean, she puts in the work as well. So we just try to make sure that they've got that understanding. And I've always said to them, you know, go school, uni, whatever, but don't feel like you have to do that. Do you know what I mean? If you come to me and say, Dad, I want to set up this business doing X, Y, Z, cool. Do you know what? Give me a proper business proposal, whatever. Sit me down like a proper thing.
Yeah.
And if I think it's sound, I'll invest.
Yeah.
I've always said that to them from little.
Yeah. That's how it has to, like, because I feel like my mum, because of who her dad was, innit? Yeah, my granddad. The only thing she knows is education.
Right.
That's it. You go, you do your studies, and you do your degree.
Yeah.
You come out, you get a job in it, and then you save up, you get your mortgage, and do you feel what I'm saying? I remember I told her the other day, you know, somebody won $1 million for playing video games.
Yeah.
She nearly lost her mind, bro.
Of course, fam.
Yeah. She's like, what?
Of course. Because to them, that's a madness. Like, even when I kind of explained to my dad, you know, like, especially in the lockdown, it was really hard for all the DJs that I know and that. And I kind of went on this journey of, like, just stepping out. Started doing, like, Instagram lives and that. And then moved to Twitch, which is the gaming platform, but you can monetize it.
Okay.
So
it's better than YouTube, or?
Bro, from a DJ perspective,
okay, yeah,
yes, because they haven't got the copyright issues currently. I'm sure it's on the way, but I was able to start generating revenue from streaming in my house.
What are you saying? Like live podcasts on Twitch,
bro?
Hey, listen.
No, listen. I'm telling you, man. You go on Twitch. There's something for everybody. So I moved to Twitch last October, and, like, literally none of my DJ colleagues were kind of on it. It was what Twitch? Like, what is this? Like, no, we're happy on IG Live, fam.
Yeah.
We're happy getting locked off every 20 minutes and then having to restart the thing. And I'm like, no, man, them, like, it's a little investment. You have to buy, like, a proper decent PC or a laptop and a couple webcams and a little lighting.
Yeah.
But trust me, if you invest in it, it can work. Because I know, man, and listen, it took me a couple of months to start getting people to come over. But, bro, I swear to God, God's grace and God's blessing, Twitch was paying my bills.
Oh, yeah.
You see that, like, the first half of this year?
Look at all the men, I'm like,
see?
Phones out.
See? The first half of this year, Twitch was paying my bills.
That's
like,
mad.
I didn't have to have that conversation as a man with my wife to say, do you know what, babe? Like, you're going to have to handle everything. Like, as a man, that's one thing you don't really ever want to have to do.
That's right.
So the fact that Twitch came about and I was able, like, after I paid the bills, there's not left. There's not left, but I was able to pay the bills and still ultimately do my half and still feel like, you know, the head of the house and as a man.
Of course.
I mean, I think that's important. And I know we talk a lot about men's mental health and that. And I think that's where it's things like that where it could have been real sticky for me. So, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just blessed that door came.
Yeah.
And how do you guys figure out balance? Because one of the things that I've realized, and even just listening to you, is that your household is very, very, very balanced. And even when you said, you know, at one time, you know, the wife had to take over the bills, and it didn't seem like, when you said it, it didn't seem like it was all out war. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially like, not like these days, you know, you don't take a girl to sexy fish and that, and it's war, innit?
No.
When you marry the right one, you see.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But again, that's when you see, when you find somebody who understands the vision. So she's always understood the vision. She's always seen the potential, and it was just God's timing.
Yeah.
So even at that point, she knew that there's gonna get to a point where it's gonna be balanced. She knows that ultimately I want to get to a point where she doesn't have to work for somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can work doing her own thing. So that's always been my goal. So she understands that in this thing, like this marriage thing, bro, you gotta take the rough with the smooth. You gotta take the wins
all
with
the way
losses.
to the end.
So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And for me as a man, and I think this is why it's important for me to mention it, it wasn't a thing. I know a lot of us feel like, we've always got to be earning more than our partner or whatever. But to me at the time, it made more sense, not just financially, but for the sake of the twins. Because the fact that they were able to then spend more time with their dad, what they've learned in those 7 years or whatever, like I left my full-time job back in 2012 to then start doing radio on top in the mornings on my breakfast show for free.
Oh, man.
So I wasn't even getting paid. Do you know what I mean? But at that time, God was like, you know what? He made it so uncomfortable for me at work. You know, sometimes like he's got to make it really uncomfortable. Like there's going to work and not liking it, and then there's going to work and thinking I really don't want to be here. Which was affecting my mental state. You know what I mean? I was actually at one point on the verge of like a nervous breakdown, literally. And then there was a scenario at work where the feds had to come into my shop. And everybody knows the household I come from, may not come from that. See, mommy and daddy Milktray, the one thing that listen, don't make police come knock my door. I don't care what happened, don't make the police come knock my door. So as far as I was concerned, police was knocking our door because that's my workplace. And then that was when I said, you know what? It's time for me to hand in the notice. And that was probably one of the landmark moments in my life, because I was literally working on faith. Like I'm leaving my full-time job. I've got a family. The twins are about 2. The missus is still, at that time she was at home. And I'm like, yeah, babe, like I'm going to leave. Dad, I'm going to leave. Okay, all right, son. I mean, when you say you're leaving the job, I mean, as in you're leaving, or no? I'm gonna go part time, Dad. So how much hours is this part time? I said about 15. He said, well, you sure? I said, no, Dad. Look, Dad, look, I prayed on it. I said, all right, cool. You ready? He said, Dad, let's go. And I know, like, my mom and my dad, they are real, like, old school prayer warriors.
Yeah.
I was literally about to say, one thing that has remained consistent throughout this whole podcast is your direction with God. And I was literally just about to say, where did that come from?
It comes from my gran. My gran, she's, you know, typical old school grandma. Bible
Prayer
and
warrior.
again, and the thing is, like I said earlier, because I grew up sleeping next to my gran from a baby, like my gran would wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and be praying for 3 hours. And as a child, you don't get it. And even when you're younger, you still don't get it. Like, but what I've realized now is all those prayers, she was praying them prayers for my family, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my cousins, my aunties, my sons, the generations. That's what that old school do. So my gran used to go church. Our home church is in Tooting, New Testament Assembly. And then like later on, my mom and dad got baptized. My auntie Cherry, my uncle Dolphy, like, so like our whole family is like in church a lot. So I remember going to church as a younger and sitting next to my gran in like, and my gran used to sit in the second row.
Okay.
Like, you know them.
In it.
Don't, and listen, if you're a guest, don't ever sit in that second row. No, say you have to move in it.
Yeah.
So I grew up in church, and my whole family, like my household, has grown up in church, and my church always saw the vision. They always said that, Martin, you've got a special calling on you, and as a young man, I don't really want to hear that.
Yeah.
Like at the time, my church was, when I was like 16, a lot of my friends started to stop coming to church because they was at that age
Yeah.
where they could, you know, have that conversation. Where you didn't even have a conversation. It was like, not getting church.
Yeah.
And then my church was kind of like, look, if Martin gets baptized, because they saw the calling in it. Like, you know what I mean? When you see things with your spiritual eye, it's different. So they were like, no, if we can get Martin to get baptized, then the young people
bring
will
some
come,
people
young
back.
are gonna
Yeah,
bring.
yeah.
And I was like, at that time, I just started buying my first couple records. So I'm like, they really got no time for this for church like that. Listen, I'm never gonna disrespect like
Of
that's
course.
home, and I'm born and raised, literally grounded in it. But that wasn't for me. But what I love is that God has allowed me to go like literally full circle. So you know what I mean? Like as I said, my parents had never stopped praying for me. My church has never stopped praying for me, and now I'm in a position where I'm actually having my own church online. You know what I mean? Due to the pandemic. And you know what I mean? I've never strayed away from the relationship that I have with God, or I've never shied away from it. You know, even when man's playing out on whatever, but like hard back in the day, people be like, yo, Milks, boy, I got a 3 till 4. I'll be like, fam, you have to change that in a car. Man's got to get to church and all like that, brother. And then my wife is heavily involved in her church. So it's just always been, and I've just allowed God to just kind of mold me in that way. And now, 2 weeks ago, I was able to bring my DJ equipment back to my church and do like what I call mix and praise in my church. So the bank holiday, we're celebrating 60 years of NTA tooting, or NTA as an organization, and they said, oh, we want you to come and host it and do your little thing. So in the lockdown, when we went into the first lockdown, when we was doing IG lives and that, or I was having fun DJing on IG live, creating a vibe, getting like 300-400 people on my lives. I'm like, rah. And then one Saturday night, I was watching one of my co-DJs in my team, DJR. We got the Wright Academy and that. And JR was playing. It was about 12:30 at night, like early Sunday morning. And I just felt God saying, look, you see tomorrow morning, I want you to do a Sunday service. I said, saying to myself, I don't know about that now. I mean, of course, I've got gospel in that, but who's gonna really wanna take part or watch man do a Sunday service? I was like, all right, cool. Created a little quick flyer on my phone, posted it up about 1:30 at night. Went to sleep, woke up the next morning, like over 250 likes.
Mad.
I go on, I start at 9 o'clock that morning, and by the end of the service, man's got like 150 people watching. And then that was like April 2020. At the peak on Instagram, I was hitting 400 or 500 people on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, that's
so
nuts.
like so Milktray Sunday service started in the lockdown, and I haven't missed a single Sunday. And there was so much in that, and what I learned about that was the period, another landmark where God was saying, listen, just be obedient. Yeah. I just want you to trust me, because so lockdowns, like pandemics come, lockdowns come, coronas come. I've been made redundant from Carphone. Yeah. Now I've been there 20 plus years. Now, because I'd gone part-time, they based my redundancy on the hours that I was doing. So instead of expecting 20 plus 25 bags, they initially offered me 2.5 grand.
Oh my
What?
days.
No.
Yeah, Carphone, you should be
right?
ashamed of yourself.
Right. So, but I just want everybody to listen to this phrase, look at God. Yeah? So, a friend of mine who used to work in the HR department, I contacted her. I said, look, babe, this is the situation. She said, cool, don't worry. She did this boom email for me. So we sent it. She's like, look, do you want to battle it? But the funny thing is, fam, the whole time, when people were saying, oh, Carphone's closed down, boom, 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 redundancy, and I'm telling them the figure, they're like, what? No, that's a madness. But there was such a calmness in my spirit. There was such a calmness in my spirit. And I couldn't really put a thumb or put a hand on it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. So she sent this email. They pushed it up to like 4 bags. So now, this is probably April, May. I had 20 plus wedding bookings for 2020.
Oh my
days.
Wild.
I had 20 plus, probably 4 of them international, corporate dues, like christenings, because
Mm.
that's really where I do now. Like, I'm not so much out in the clubs. I do a lot of weddings and that kind of stuff. And that was kind of like a conscious decision.
More
If it's
wholesome.
if it's like one of my people or like our own event, then cool. But I'm not trying to really be playing out too much.
Mm.
But throughout the whole pandemic, I kept doing this Sunday service.
Mm.
And I didn't even know how the bills was getting paid. So the savings was here, and then every month the savings getting down and down and down. And I'm saying to God, listen, I don't really know what you're on, because right now, like, the money is dropping. And then God said, you know what? And every time I felt like it was getting mad sticky, he just gave me a ting. Do you know what? The George Floyd thing happened.
Yes.
So it all kicks off. I get a phone call from some guys of mine that work around in the Croydon area. They're like, look, we're doing a rally and we want to really get some, some well-respected black, community people down at the rally. So I go down to the rally and meet couple of the MPs, the mayor and all of that. And then one of my guys, Anthony King, says to me, we want you to start like a DJ program, like for the young people. So I was already working with the Wright Academy. Big up my guy DJR. And they were like, look, we want you to kind of set up one. I was like, cool. So we set up the Hope program. And then imagine, started up the Hope program. And then next thing, I'm in a meeting with the Metropolitan Police. I'm in a meeting with the mayor. I'm in a meeting with the directors for the charity for Crystal Palace Football Club.
Mad.
Palace for Life. They're saying, yeah, boom, like, see summer holidays, we want you to come in and do the DJ workshops. Yeah, we want you to come and do this. We want you to come and do that. And every single week, I'm still doing Sunday service. Yeah, I'm getting 400 or 500 people on Sunday service. It's mad. And then my computer then started streaming properly. My computer popped down because it wasn't designed to stream.
Oh, man.
It was a little £300 lappy that was meant to just do Word and Excel.
Yeah.
I popped down on man. Then God said, look, boom, I'm going to bless you with some peas. Bought a new proper streaming computer. And like, since then, like, I know a lot of people have seen and said, like, your elevation through lockdown has been like amazing to watch, inspiring and whatever. But all I can say is look at God. Because when I was obedient, the moment when God said, do Sunday service, and I challenged him, I said, I don't really, like, I don't know. And now, doing Sunday service, the biggest thing for me, it then opened the door for something that I thought the door was closed, which was One Extra.
Yeah.
So somebody at One Extra had been actually watching my Sunday services on Instagram. Yeah. And then in February this year, I got an email. And listen to this. What time did I tell you that God told me to do Sunday service?
Like in the morning.
Morning about 12:30.
Yeah.
One Wednesday evening at 12:30, I get an email from a producer, Adele, at One Extra, saying, I've been watching what you're doing. I want you to come and bring that to One Extra. Give me a call.
Sick.
Mad.
Because one of my questions was going to be, did anyone fight you on it? Because you know how sometimes when we look at like radio stations, we feel like gospel, I don't really think they want to push that.
I was waiting for you to say this, bro.
But they just saw what you were doing and was like.
So even from my breakfast show on Top, I'd always start my show with gospel. And I got that from listening to Angie Greaves when she used to be back on Choice back in the day.
Yeah.
Angie Greaves would never start her show without playing some form of gospel to bless the day. So I grew up as a youth listening to that. And I always said, if I have my own breakfast show, I'm going to keep that going.
Yeah.
So I was able to, so me playing gospel on radio in my shows wasn't nothing new. It wasn't anything really out of the norm for my people because they knew that's where I come from. So playing a Kirk Franklin or,
Donnie
a Donnie McClurkin or a Ty Tribbett, you know what I mean? Or the Clarks, like, to them, that's normal. That's part of Milktray's breakfast show. So I've always had my toe in gospel music. And then, like I said, my wife is the director for the Tab Worship Choir, and the church is based in Lewisham. And then, like, I've just always been around it. So but I wasn't that confident. Like,
Right.
do you know what I mean? So I'm saying, like, raw, like, God, like, because I've always tried to get onto One Extra from the get-go. Like, and I've had little features and, like, man, bring me in. Big up Ace and Viz, big up Rampage, big up Shawnee, like, like, enough man, G Money, like, enough man who bring me in and, like, go to kind of crack the door open, but never fully, like, I'm like, like,
giving me this
like,
taster
yeah,
meal.
like,
innit?
I'm good, like, I know I'm good for this thing.
Yeah.
But you see, when God said,
does
do what I need you to do, and then just watch what I'm gonna do for you. So for me to now be on One Extra, like every other week, like mixing and playing gospel with grime, with back, because that's what I do. Do you know what I mean? I don't just mix the gospel. Like we came up with a whole concept called Mix and Praise on my Sunday service. So you might hear a Kirk Franklin with a garage. You might hear a Donny with like some drum and bass or like or a reggae like a version. You know what I mean? So
But that's what people are doing, you know, like as someone who, you know, is involved quite heavily in rap, when you hear a lot of the samples now, some of the most banging ones are when they sample the gospel. People don't listen, don't even get me started, because I was 13? Sam, you know, innit? 13 to 16 or something. I didn't even listen. Like, there was a point, I was so in my zone, I didn't listen to no secular music.
wow.
Sammy will tell you.
Yeah,
I
but I
didn't
was the
listen
same.
to, yeah. Oh, yeah, Sammy was the
I
same.
brought you in, bro.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
on, let's not
yeah.
do
The
the thing.
Lecrae's, the Tripley's,
Come on.
116 clip. Yeah, let's not even go there, innit? But yeah, no, it's refreshing to see, innit? Like, and to hear. Like, I'm not so much in that zone now, but I still listen to a lot of gospel. Gospel's always popping in my house, innit?
And I think, you know what's mad, for me, I remember, especially when I came across the 116 click,
Yeah.
I was like, I respected Lecrae and guys like Triple Show Baraka.
Yeah.
Because they were
about
sick.
the time at Andy Mineo, innit?
Yeah. And so for me, I respected them because they were sick rappers.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they were rapping about Christ and their love for Christ and that, but they were sick rappers.
Yeah.
You know, my boy said that. I showed him one track and he was like, bro, this sounds like some gangster music.
Yeah,
He was like, bro, this sounds like I should say rolling with my top down listening to this gangster. And I was like, bro, it just made me laugh.
And remember, I had this conversation with Don, innit? And I was like, do you realize, Trip Lee was our J. Cole before J. Cole?
Yes.
Yes, bro.
Yes. 100.
You feel what I'm saying?
100.
And he was like, I'm not even ready for that conversation.
Yeah. I told Sammy, I was like, I'm not ready for that one.
Yeah,
I'm not ready for that conversation because it's so accurate. It's ridiculous.
You know, and it did a lot for my life, you know, listening to that music. Like, because I think the time when I was deep in the church, that's where brothers go off key.
Yeah.
Do you feel what I'm saying? So it was like 18, 19. I got baptized when I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that whole period of my life, innit, I was watching my guys kind of do a bit of madness. And it was so clear that, like, that's not where I was going. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember, like, when we were talking before the show, I was like, I got out of that, I want to be rolled real quick.
Yeah.
And I think a major part was because of what we were doing in the church. We met Gail, who was like a big mentor for me and Don.
Yeah, girl, she's a priest now.
Yeah,
well,
more so Don, but still her energy with me, like, was mad because should I really talk? Anyway,
talk.
Like, I had this massive issue with like sex in it and girls because for a long time I thought that was bare unattractive in it. So whenever I had the chance, like, I would just be sleeping with girls and that. And it was mad because Gail would be like, is this really what you want for your life?
Yeah.
You know, like, the last person that you slept with, if they were pregnant, would you be happy about that?
Yeah.
And so I was like, raw. Nah,
she moved to people.
Yeah,
different.
and
You
the
see,
thing
like,
is, she
when
wasn't
they
afraid.
talk-
Like, she weren't afraid. You know, like, anywhere she wants to go. I remember she said something, and the whole room she was like, because at that time, you know, South London, it can be a bit homophobic sometimes, yeah? And she was like, when you guys see sex before marriage, like you see homophobia, then we'll be in the same place.
Wow.
Mad, innit?
That's powerful.
I was like,
mad, innit?
That's powerful.
I was like, girl, we ain't really ready for this kind of conversation.
Sensation, yeah. It's crazy. Like when I say that,
And she
lady,
just moved, like she wasn't afraid, like to have those
she's
conversations.
wild, bro. Like, when I say she's wild, yeah, that is still my G today, innit?
Yeah.
And when I say that I've never been G checked in church so madly by anyone but her
Yeah.
all the time, because she reaches you at the level and then she just gives it to you.
Yeah. My Uncle Freddie is that person to me.
Is it?
But my Uncle Freddie is really calm. So
Oh,
he's one of them ones. He would let you just like let it out, and then he'll say two things, and you're like,
Yeah.
like,
She always used to say truth and grace. And I used to be like, wait. Like, I could tell you so many stories, innit? Because I was a wild kid. Sammy would tell you, innit? Even nowadays, sometimes I reflect back and I'm like, no, these people in life, yeah, they really put this, like, kind of cap on me. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I was throwing people over chairs. I got taken to the priest's office because I shot someone in the head with a BB gun. I was, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how Deacon Smith would have taken that at church.
Yeah, bro. But do you know what, yeah? I can't lie. They managed to get me in the water, brother.
Oh, come on now.
The water just washed me over one time.
Come
I was
on
like,
now.
raw. And anytime it was a problem, they just pulled me up in love. It's just like, listen, yeah, we're going to put you on this stage. Is this how you're going to be acting? It's kind of mad, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, raw. It is, bro. Like, listen, yeah, for the young people, yeah, church is a mad thing. Like, don't let it wash over you. It's like, because for me, it's what it taught me, innit?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I don't get into debates about that, innit? I'm just like, all right, listen, my brother, you do your thing. And just pray about it.
Yeah.
And we'll see where you go from there.
Yeah.
Because that is the start of the journey. And when the journey happens, you're going to be like, this is mad. Just like you're talking your journey. Mad, bro. Real madnesses. I can't tell you to go and follow God and do this and do that and all the rest of it, innit? I'm just saying, just let him into your life and see what's going on in it. And then we can have a chat a couple years down the line.
That's the whole thing about my Sunday service. I'm just planting the seed. I'm just what I'm now comfortable. I'm very comfortable in being the vessel and just letting God use me. Like, so if you're listening to the Kirk or whatever, and like every Sunday we still have a word. So I've exposed people to like Pastor Mike Todd, Stephen Furtick, like some of these guys are doing amazing bits, and there's people that have, like a friend of mine, she said she's never really done church or whatever, and then like a couple months ago she messaged me and said, look, you know what, I actually ordered a Bible.
Oh, swear.
Ordered a Bible. I've got the Bible app on my phone. And there's a couple YouTube channels that I refer to, like for prayer and all of that I use myself on a daily. And I've, spread that information, and there's people that use that regular. And there's people that I get testimonies and messages saying, look, Milks, I was here this time last year and this is where I'm at. And it's because like the seeds that you're planting. And for me, that's the win. Do you know what I mean? That's the win. And then all of the blessings that are coming right now, like, trust me. Like,
See, do you know what's mad about it? I'm like, even if like you just want to touch it, innit? Some of the things, when you read it, it's just going to hit you different. Like, you know that basic things, like he who finds a good wife finds a good thing. Yeah. And it's just like, what? No, man's chatting rubbish, innit? Let's just take it like that. Man's talking rubbish.
Yeah, Proverbs is madness.
Yeah. And then you buck up with the thing, innit? And you get in beef and she keys your car. And you're like, wait a minute. He who finds a good wife finds a good thing. Yeah, you're not for me, innit? So you X the thing out of your life. And you're like, man's got bare peace.
Yeah.
You gonna debate with that scripture.
Yeah.
Real life, the life essence of what you're being taught is completely in line with what is documented in front of you.
Come on now.
Whether you like whether you're one of those people, but they didn't find the scrolls, but da. I'm just like, bro, as you said, read Proverbs. Like some of the things that it would just put your mindset in gear for different things. You don't even have to believe. It just be text to you.
And you know what Milks was saying about being obedient, It always reminds me of this story that one of the elders at church told me, innit? He was like, there's this man, always, he's weak in it. He's a weak guy. Goes up to the mountain and he says to God, like, I want to be a stronger man in it. Like, I want to be strong. And so man goes to bed, wakes up in the morning. There's a boulder in front of his house, innit? And then inscribed on the boulder is, I want you to push against this boulder, innit?
Mhm.
Okay. So man pushes. Can't move it. Goes back to bed. Then he does that for a year and he can't, bro, 365 days, man does not miss a day.
Right.
And he still can't move it. So he's vexed now, innit? I spent 365 days trying to move this boulder and wow, nothing for me, yeah? So he goes to the mountain again, he prays and he goes, God, I've done exactly what you said, yeah? And man cannot push the boulder. And then God said to him, go look in the mirror.
Man's looking like
When
my
he
champ.
goes-
Come on now.
Man's got six-pack, man. Flexing, man
Come
can do
on.
that thing where the, you know,
the pec-
chest
pec-
jiggle
yeah,
and all
yeah,
of that.
yeah.
And then God said to him, I didn't ask you to move it. All I said was push against it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, we could do both
Come
on
on.
this. The listen,
Come on.
Yeah, bro.
That is
Yeah, bro.
that is real.
You feel what I'm
That,
saying?
and I feel that's been my journey throughout lockdown. My journey throughout lockdown has really been about that level of obedience, and it's made me like a much stronger person. My relationship with God is a lot stronger, and it's definitely at the forefront. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I wake up, I go into my studio at home, I spend time with God first thing in the morning. Sometimes it might be half hour, 45, sometimes it might be just 5 minutes. But I make sure I dedicate that first portion of the day and spend that with God, and then it just aligns everything. So when people look at me and like see the wins, like it's like that's where it comes from. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not afraid to talk about the losses and that.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's important. People need to see that, especially when you're looking at it from a business perspective or whatever. There's always going to be challenges. I've done events and lost $2,000. Do you know what I mean? Like me and my cousin, we started doing a variety show in college years ago, and then it was on my heart just to always to redo it. So back in like 2018, I spoke to my cousin Ibs. I was like, "Cuz, we need to do this show, you know." And man's like, "Yeah, worked out the P's and all of that." And like, yeah, man was like, "Look, if we get 700 and something people in a Broadway theater, like, man's gonna make some good little P's, fam." Cut a long story short, 7 days before the event, man had only sold 85 tickets. Yeah, sold 85 tickets. So my sister, like one of my prayer sisters, she said, "Look," she phoned me. She came on the phone straight away. She said, "Look, God told me to tell you to pray and fast for the next 7 days." I said, "All right, cool." So I prayed and fasted for the next 7 days. Within that 7 days, we sold, I think, another 300 tickets. Now, what God was telling me was, it's not that I'm going to sell out this thing for you, but I just need you to really understand that when you put everything on me, like, and not try to do it yourself, I'm going to come through for you. Because that season was 2019. So we did the show in October 2019, not knowing that months down the line that the pandemic was coming. So what I then worked out was God was preparing me to lean on him in such a way out of my total comfort zone, because this pandemic was coming and this lockdown was coming, and the bookings that was already ready, the deposit that had been paid was not going to be there. But then I'm here now, nearly 2 years later, with 2 businesses. Things are good. Sunday service is still running. The kids I'm teaching, the workshops that I'm doing, like the doors that God has opened in this season, it's crazy.
Man, major moves, bro.
It's crazy. Like, I can't even fathom. Sometimes I wake up and think, wow. Like, even yesterday, I got an email from the producer, my producer at One Extra, it was my birthday like 2 weeks ago, and he messaged me. He said, "Oh, late birthday present." So I've opened up this email. Why have I got my own like one extra drops, fam?
Yeah.
Mad.
Like I got my own one extra
Mad.
jingles, fam. Like,
Aye,
and let me make it. Let me state it. Yeah, I don't even have like my own show. I'm just like an official mix DJ.
Yeah.
But I've got my own jingles.
Nah,
Like,
that's
I've
fire.
grown up listening to One Extra from the day dot
Yeah.
and hearing One Extra.
Yeah.
And I'm like, rah, like one day I'm gonna get my own. And the thing is now, whether or not anything else happens after this, I can tick that off and say I got my one extra jingles.
Yeah.
I got my jingles. Man can't. I put them on 3 different hard drives yesterday. You know what I mean? So nothing can't pop down. Yeah. So trust me, I'm like, it's just really. I just need people to understand with all the challenges, all the adversities. And I know I don't really want to make it too churchy, but like, please, like, if this is touching at your heart, or like you're listening or watching this and feeling a little thing, like, because I know man's been church, innit? Man's been there, and then you know when the auto call comes and man never sitting there like, boy, man ain't really moving, you know. Oh, fuck, you gonna move? No.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, whether it be you know what I mean, you go to church, like, but just if it's pulling on your heart right now, like, this is what God's telling me to tell somebody, and look in this camera. If you feel it, then you know how you need to act on it. Because this is real life. I'm not just saying this for entertainment or whatever. Like, I believe in my faith, and it's really carried me and my family through. So if it can do what it's done for me, then why can't it do what it can do for you? That's
and do you know
my
what
thing.
the mad thing is for me? Yeah? It's like, I remember going through secondary school, and being, as I said, I wasn't the reckiest in it. Like, there were bad breed kids in it, but like I was bad, you know, for an African child, innit?
Yeah,
my mum never used to.
Perfect way to
my
put
mum never
it,
used to
bro.
let us out the house. I used to have
yeah.
to jump fence to even get out my house. My mum used to lock every single door.
Okay, all right.
So
it wasn't that techie in mine.
yeah.
I used to sneak my click suit out of the house. I'm not gonna like hold up, like, mom, dad, if you watch this, like, they used to, like, the school I used to go to never had no uniform.
Okay.
But yeah, so Elliot, when I was going to Elliot in the 90s, there was no uniform for the school. But China, I had my uniform in it. Yeah, mom and dad made sure I still had the house uniform. So I've still got like a navy jumper, shirt, and grey trousers, like I'm going to school. But everybody else is wearing click suit and chippy jeans and nap puffer jacket. So what I used to do, I used to sneak my click suit in my rucksack, leave the house in the uniform, go down Ballum. There was a little back road thing. Yeah, I used to just, and then take off the clothes and then put on my click suit and my Harachis or my Adidas torsions. You know what I mean? And then I'll go and meet the man at the station. hey, man, hey, what chippy, yeah. So I just want to let mom and dad know I did that. So.
Yeah, but yeah, like, God will put you in mad spaces. Like, it's for the guys who like that lifestyle, innit? That gang lifestyle. I'm not saying God wants you to shoot up the place. Do you get what I'm saying? But He will put you in a space where you can influence people like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's always been, the young people have always kind of been man's heart. You know, and I understand that life gets techie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Life gets very techie. It's a sticky one. But that don't mean that people have to remain in that place. I was speaking to one of my boys, like, just came out of Penn, trying to go fully legit, put the money and the P's down for his car wrapping company, wrapping big cars, signing NDAs where he can't disclose who he's doing it for and all the rest of it. And you see, like, when I asked God, I was like, God, like, put me in some spaces, bro. I like big chains. I like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, go put me in some spaces. Imagine my boy from school. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where people are like, rah, we got this a similar name as well, innit?
Yeah.
And then he comes out, he's like, yeah, man's repping cars, you know? Shouting me the other day. Man's got some picture on my Instagram standing next to a Bentley. I'm thinking to myself, hey, I look good next to this.
Hey,
man can't even drive right now.
Come on.
Do you know what I'm saying? My boy is putting me in spaces. Do you know what I'm saying?
And I think that's one thing that we got to realize. The circle of influence. It's important.
Trust me.
You have to surround yourself with the right people. Yeah, you got to be around people. And I know it sounds really cliche, winners or whatever, but like, even my team, like my sound, Sweet Boy Entertainment, these man really are doing bits You know what I mean? Most of my guys in my team are teachers. Do you know what I mean? JR, T21, producer, Warner's like a qualified trainer. Like these people are really doing bits, not just for like the music scene, but for the next generation and etc. Like, and you know, if it wasn't for like JR doing the Rights Academy, I probably wouldn't be doing the whole program because it just makes it more tangible that somebody I know is doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to be around the right people. People like CK Flash. He's at MBE. I mean, he's trained Kai White, who recently just is the silver medalist BMX guy. From the Olympics. Now I've known CK for a long time from the DJ thing, like Spencer Farron, like the boxing guru, like I've, you know what I mean, like now the circle of people that I'm around is changing, and you then realize that it's important to be around the right people, because energy is not lost, it's just transferable. So you got to understand that you have to protect your energy, because, for example, let's say the energy in this room wasn't right and we finished the podcast. I'm now going to go and link up with Mrs. Milks and the family. And then I get to them and then my face is push up. Why'd your face push up? Why are you asking me?
See? It's
and
off
then you
key.
see, see, it's a different energy. Do you know what I mean? So
then they get away with you as well.
And then you just offset everything. So it's important just to make sure that your circle of influence is good, and then you got to understand that you're an influence for somebody else. So for me, you know, teaching the young people, and not even just young people, but other people how to DJ now is so rewarding. It's like, it's amazing to sit there and watch somebody listen to what you're saying and do it. Like, I did 2 lessons last night, and I'm like, wow. Like, one of them I've been teaching for like 3 weeks, and she literally was just mixing, like,
sick.
And then she messaged me today and she's like, oh, Milks, what controller do I need to get? And I'm like, wow. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it's important, because I feel like some of the DJs that were before me didn't create that opportunity for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to big up the Rampages, the Ill Kids, Boogie Bunch, Dr. Psycho, R.I.P., DJ Swing, people like that, G Money. Like, these are guys that really kind of helped mold me and a lot of my scene. But I feel like it's important for us to really try and take some of the young ones under the wing and kind of show them. Like, I've got a young DJ, I met her through the Rights Academy, DJ S-Ray. I've been teaching her since she was like 8.
Mad.
And now she's DJing on a monthly at Nighttown in West End. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know the level?
Pride,
the like the level of pride? Like, and like the fact that her family, you know what I mean, have really allowed me to become part of the fam. You know what I mean? And be a part of that journey. It's amazing, man. And for me, those are the wins right now. And I think that's where I think my successes are really gonna come from, is planting into others. I think there was a phrase at Carphone that we learned. It's like, we need to inspire and guide. And for me, that really hit me. I was like, wow, like, if that's gonna be my legacy, I want my legacy to be that. Like that, you know, I've inspired and guided other people.
Like, my boy used to say to me back in the day, how many people you bless is how you measure success.
100.
Oh,
shout out P,
big up P, hey, listen.
So, just wrapping up in it. What do you see for yourself in the next 5 years? It's hard to answer that question.
No, do you know what? In the next 5 years, I definitely see an even more active role in church. I know some of my congregation, because I have to call them congregation. They're like, no, like, we can see it. Like, and the thing is, I've always known that it's gonna go that way. So, like, as where before, I wouldn't even have said that on camera. But like, now I'm just owning it, innit?
Yeah, like, you got to it.
It's gonna get to a point where it's, you know, it's gonna be past the Milks. You know what I mean? Not just the character that I've created, but it's gonna be that. You know what I mean? Like, so I definitely see that. You know, I definitely see more, you know, kind of community-led, opportunities and operations. So we're just recently going to be launching or just starting to launch our own radio station.
Mad.
Do you know what I mean? So,
I like that.
So the radio station is called Reach LDN Radio. I've had the idea for years, but now that I've got the Hope program, it kind of coexists. So if we're training young people to DJ, there still needs to be an end goal.
Yeah.
And for them, the end goal or the next step would be the radio station.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to teach them how to, you know, be radio presenters, DJs, production, all of that kind of stuff. So the Hope program and Reach LDN Radio will coexist.
Yeah,
So
I
they'll
love
come
that.
through the Hope program and then they'll look across and this is the vision God. I ain't got the building yet.
Yeah.
But this is the vision God's given me. Is that on the other side they'll see the radio station and I'll be like, cool. That's where I want to get to.
Hey, don't worry, we're gonna link up.
You know
My
what's
boy
mad?
just hit me. Oh, do you want?
You know what's
are you gonna
mad
say
about
your
that?
thing? Yeah, go on.
That is exactly how you started this conversation.
Just
With
went
you
full circle.
living on two sides.
Yeah.
Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love it.
That is sick. I just
Yeah. You just got the vision, innit?
That is sick.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's the vision God's given me.
Mm.
So yeah, that's definitely going to be growing. And just, you know, trying to be a light for our people.
Mm.
And I think I knew that was going to be the case even when I was younger, but I'm now a lot more comfortable and confident in being that light. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like there's a lot of darkness going on. In
Yeah,
this,
definitely.
and I feel like, you know, for black men, you know, I think especially we're targeted. Do you know what I mean? So if my life can help somebody else's, whether it's Milktray or Martin, do you know what I mean? Then I'm here. I'm all here for it. That's what God's kind of put me here for. So, yeah, that's really it. And then, you know, just some nice classy events. You know what I mean? Because I'm 43 now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I want to be able for us to, you know, get dressed up, put on a black tie, and the ladies put on a nice dress and thing, and
Come on.
you know what I mean? We do some not all people dinner and dance. Yeah, but like we're gonna have dinner and dances and you know those kind of things. You know what I mean? Like those are the things I want us to do. I want us to get dressed and feel like black excellence and look like it and actually live it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because when I know there's a lot of madness in America and whatever, but you see like when they go into that space, like when you go to Atlanta and like, I mean
When
you,
Diddy
and,
throws one
and,
of them.
yeah, and you see it and like you know
Yeah.
what I mean, and it's not just about the money or whatever,
No, exactly.
but it's about, you know, celebrating life and living and you know feeling good about yourself. So
Yeah.
I think that's important. So yeah, that's really where I see Milktray going and the radio stations and things like that blossoming.
What are you saying, Sammy? The family presents. You know?
I'm just saying.
You know who
I'm
we-
just
Hey, bro, I'm
just-
here.
I'm
Like,
just saying, Warner, when you see this, like, make the but Warner's my business partner. He's my cousin. He's the brains of like all of the operations. I've got
Okay.
to send a big shout out to my cousin Warner. But yeah, Warner, let's make the phone call, fam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Tell him if he ever wants the big whips.
Come
We
on.
got it. You get what I'm saying? Step out in excellence.
Come on,
Suave.
let's do this.
Anyway,
bro, I'm just I'm just here. Like I've said to Don Bear in it, like that podcast has been like a massive therapy for me in it, and I didn't think I'd love something like I love music, like writing and stuff like this, but just conversations like this.
Yeah.
Like how many times you get to sit and actually have a conversation like this without
fam, this
oh
has been
my
a blessing,
like,
bro.
yeah, you know, like, oh, I got to do this for work, I got to do this for the
Yeah.
family, this, that, to just sit down and talk with your heart open, innit?
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like my duty now is to get as good as I possibly can doing this.
Do you know what's mad? You
Learning all of
started
this
you
stuff.
didn't even see God. You didn't even know, yeah, because you started as an MC, yeah, in youth events, bro. And you didn't even think that transferred into podcasting, innit?
Yeah,
Yeah,
nah.
I bet you didn't, innit?
Come on
But
now.
when you was there speaking to people, now
Yeah.
you're sitting here speaking to people, and it's just calm and natural. You think that's a normal thing?
Yeah,
That see, and again, that's why God allowed me to take the journey, because at 16 I didn't have the confidence.
yeah,
I didn't have any of that. So he's like, all right, cool, go on, do your little Milktray thing, go on. But you know what? You see your grandmother, yeah, you know the train up a child the way that he or she should grow, and even when they're old, they won't depart from it. That I am the definition, because the fact that I was 2 weeks ago playing my mix and praise in my, and I'll be honest, even when I went up on the altar because I hosted the event, like I got emotional because I stood there and I looked at the second row and knew that if my gran was here, she'd be buzzing.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know how church is set up. So like in my church, the pastors and the top dogs will sit in a certain section, and I was able to sit next to my pastor. And then we had the Doyley brothers perform, and they sang. They did a cover version of Marvin Sapp's "Never Would Have Made It."
Oh, yeah.
And then I came on afterwards, and I played. There's a remix of it. Like there's like a upfront kind of turn up remix of it. So I played that, and the whole church was vibing, fam. The whole church was vibing, and I sat back down, and then my bishop leaned over and he said, "I get it. I get it." So for me, it's full circle now. Do you know what I mean? So like now my church is talking about, give us a date because we want you to come and bring Milktray Sunday service to church. And the funny thing is, 2 years ago, God gave me a vision that I was gonna do it in my church, and the church would be rammed to the rafters. And I just didn't get it.
Yeah,
I didn't get it.
I love that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we're gonna call it a wrap.
Come
baby.
on.
it's been fantastic,
Powers,
man.
bro.
Yeah,
I really
it's been a
enjoyed this
blessing. It's been an
conversation.
honor and a privilege to be here, man.
Oh man, thank you for blessing us, because obviously you've taken the time out of your day, innit? I know it's your anniversary, innit?
Anniversary today as
See,
well.
anniversary, and man, pull up.
Congratulations.
So, like,
Yeah, fam.
I don't-
8 years in this thing, fam.
Come on, bro. So yeah, we thank you. Bless up and lift up your family as well.
man.
And yeah, so where can people find you just quickly before you?
Really, DJ Milktray pretty much on everything. Insta, Twitter, the Hope program on IG, Hope Pro UK, the radio station Reach LDM Radio on IG. You can download our app as well. It's already up and running on both platforms, Android and iOS. So just search for Reach Radio. And yeah, just catch me online, man. I'm there. Like, find me on the IG. Like that's all.
And
I'm
on the
say.
Twitch, man. Pay man's bills still.
And
Pay man's bills,
find me on the Twitch, DJ_Milktray. Come and join us for Sunday service. You know what I mean? And then we're streaming the week and all of that. And yeah, man, it's just love and light, man. It's just love and light.
Love that.
I love that. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. My name's Sammy.
My name is Don.
And we've been the family.
Bow.